Hey everybody, my name is Deja and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing a huge book haul. I know I just did another huge book haul. I think in April I filmed it. Y'all saw it a little bit later because I was like graduating and stuff like that, so I pre-filmed a little bit. But since then I've collected another like 70 something books, which is absolutely crazy. But over half of these I've got either free, used, or gifted to me. That's also in part because I unhauled like 300 books from my collection and I gave them to my used bookstore, so obviously I got credit. I got like $200 of credit, so I have been like stopping in there every so often, and they have such good books sometimes, and so I've been stopping in there getting a lot of books from there, and I still have like $50 of credit. It's absolutely crazy, but there's a lot of books. I'm not going to go over them all in too much detail. Some of these I've already read, some of them I haven't, but when I buy books, it's mostly based off what I've heard people say about it and like the buzzwords that I remember about it. So I don't normally know like the entire plot of each individual book that I buy, which I know some people are like, that's crazy, like I want to know the full synopsis. But for me, I feel like sometimes a lot of synopses spoil the plot of books, and I don't like that. So I kind of just go based off what I've heard about it, what sounds interesting about the book. So I'm gonna start off with the books that were gifted to me, and I actually received these before I filmed my last book haul. I mentioned them, but I had them sent here to my apartment now, but at the time it was just my boyfriend's apartment where I was moving into, and I filmed my book haul back at my school apartment, so I didn't have them with me and I couldn't remember who sent them to me. The first one is Immortal Dark, which was kindly sent to me by Melody, and she's also a fellow alum from my school. That was super nice of her. Both these books I think were sent because of my graduation, because people were asking. But this one I know is a YA fantasy, and it's like dark academia, which sounds really interesting, and the author's Black, and I really have been trying to like pick up books that I think would be good for fall, and so that's why I put this one on my wish list. So I'm really excited to try it out and see if it's good this fall. I actually have another YA book, and that is a YA horror book, and that is Don't Let the Forest In by CJ Drews. Everybody's been talking about this book, even though it's YA. A lot of people hate YA horror, which I really like a lot of it, but a lot of people I know have been raving about this book, saying it's one of the best horror books that they've ever read. I don't even know anything else about it. I think it might be queer, if I'm not mistaken, but besides that I don't know anything. And this one was sent to me by Shannon. I love Shannon so much, and again, it was for my graduation. This one I'm just really excited for because everybody's been raving about it. And then I have a couple miscellaneous books that I bought from various places. All of these other ones have like multiple books from different places, but I think I bought this one off Pango, and that is Killing Stalking Volume 2. This is a super crazy manhwa series. If you guys don't know, manhwa is like manga, but it's from a different country, and this one is crazy. It has kidnapping, it has being a serial killer in it, it has all these different things, but there's also a romance. It's super toxic. Obviously nothing that you would ever say like is okay in real life. It's literally criminal, but it's super interesting to read about and dark. So it has a lot of triggers. It literally says like mature on the back, but I wanted to continue on in this series because I read the first one I think a year or two ago, and I really liked it, and it was just on my mind, so I picked it up to read it. And then these next three I've also all read, and I bought them from the author's website directly, and that is all of Mia Ballard's currently published work. She has Shy Girl, We All Rot Eventually, and Sugar. I love all of these. She's a Black Indigenous author, so I really wanted to support her, and I heard about her earlier this year with her release of Shy Girl, I think back in February, but she published her first work back in November of last year, and she's honestly sprung to be one of my favorite authors, which is crazy because she just started publishing work. This one is like unhinged woman who's always been unhinged but kind of pretends to be like put together and domesticated. It's crazy. This one is a short little novella about a woman who wants to become an actress, and she's letting fame and the desire for success to go to her head, and again, kind of unhinged woman. And then this one is more extreme horror. This one literally made me cry, sob, and made me sick to my stomach. It's about a woman who goes on a sugar daddy website and then gets looped into basically being this man's dog and being kidnapped and forced to do this for him. This was such a hard read, but so good. This one is my favorite of the bunch, but I literally love all of them, and I'm so happy that I have them. And they all are signed as well, so I'm really happy to have these. Then I have the books that I got on my trip to Texas. If you guys don't know, I have my friend Haley who lives in Texas. Her channel is Haley Hughes, and I went to see her at the end of May, beginning of June for her birthday. Of course, we're bookish girls. Our friend Aspen was also there, and her local friends, and we went to some bookstores. The first one I actually did not get in Texas. I got it in the bookstore at the airport on the way to Texas, and that is Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. I was dying to read this one because it's the last book in the Skyland series, and I was so anticipating it, so I knew when I went to the bookstore, I wanted to get it. She did get a little bit damaged. She got some like nail glue on her from being in my bag, but I love this one. This one follows Hedrick. She is a businesswoman and she kind of gets attracted to this man that is very like off the table forbidden for her. And this one also has to deal with taking care of a parent who has dementia and trying to grapple with that. It's very, very good. I love this whole series. Highly recommend Kennedy Ryan's books. And then I got Bathhouse by PJ Vernon. This one has kind of been on my radar for a little bit, but I never really thought to pick it up. But I did ask Haley, I was like, what books do you think I should read? Like, I've been wanting a really, really good thriller. And she recommended this one because it has to do with blackmail. I think this man cheats on his partner by going to a bathhouse, and the person that he cheated with is trying to blackmail him. It sounds really good. I'm excited to read it. She also recommended You Can Trust Me by Wendy Hurd. I really don't know much about this one besides that it's like a summary read. I'm really, really excited to read it because she said that it's like absolutely insane. Like, I was like, I want something twisty. I want something that's going to shock me. And she recommended this one. So I'm really excited for that. I also picked up The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez because my boyfriend actually bought me the second book in this series. I asked him to buy it. He was like, get books like from our bookstore or whatever. And I picked up that one. I thought it was the first book, but it was actually the second book. So I was like, I want to pick up the first one so I can continue reading Abby Jimenez's backlist because I really love the Part of Your World series. So I don't know what this one is about, but I love Abby Jimenez, so I'm really excited to read this one as well. And then lastly was another Haley recommendation, and that is How to Be Eaten by Maria Aldman. I think she said that this is like women who are part of like classic stories and fairy tales all come together in the support group, like Little Red Riding Hood and stuff like that, and like talk about their grievances. And I think there's also something that starts to go crazy where I think they need to like take vengeance against the men who harmed them, maybe. It says it's daring, edgy, and wickedly funny. I'm really, really excited, and it's a very feminist book, so that makes me want to pick it up even more. Next up are the books from my subscription boxes. I always get Book of the Month and Aardvark. Well, sometimes I like skip months if I don't find the books intriguing. I've never skipped Aardvark, I don't think. I definitely skip Book of the Month pretty often. I also tried out Nightworms for a couple months, and I liked it, but I just don't think it's worth it for the price for me personally. But I do have two of their picks for 1 month. I know that these came together. It's Immaculate Conception by Ling Ling Huang and Silk and Sinew. Normally their main pick I've always heard of, and then the second pick I've never heard of usually. So Immaculate Conception is a new release that I've also read. It was for my book club. I actually really enjoyed this one. This one is kind of hard to describe. It has to kind of do with the art scene and jealousy and AI and envy and all these different things. It's a very, very interesting book. I highly recommend picking it up. I enjoyed it more than Natural Beauty, which I think is a little unpopular. And then Silk and Sinew, all I know about this is it's a collection of folk horror from the Asian diaspora. I'm excited to try it out because I haven't had the best luck with horror anthologies, but I definitely want to try out more. Then I have First Time Caller by BK Borison. I think I got this not in the month that it came out yet because this came out in February, but I was waiting to see like reviews on it before I got it as an add-on. But I've also read this one. This is really interesting because it's about a radio talk show where basically this man, he has like this romance show where people call in, and this single mom, her daughter calls in and is like, hey, my mom is a single mom and she like never goes on dates or anything like that. But she actually ends up joining him on the radio talk show, and it's really interesting. Like, the woman does, not the child. I also got, of course, King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. Again, I've already read this one. I love S.A. Cosby. He is my king. This one is about a man who goes back to help his family after his father is comatose, and he has to help his brother clean up the messes that he started with some of the gang members that are in their town. It's really good. I also read The Unworthy, which was an Aardvark pick, and this one is by Augustina Bastarrica, the same author that wrote Tender as the Flesh. This one is kind of like post-apocalyptic culty, and I liked it, but it felt very fever dreamy, and half the time I didn't know what was going on, but it was an interesting read. I am missing one of my picks that I got recently from Nightworms. I think it came in the box with this book, and I might have brought it home to my parents' house. I don't remember, but I could not find it on my shelves. And so the one book I do have from that is Smile for the Cameras by Miranda Smith. This one was on my radar a little bit, but I don't really remember much about it. But it says that a actress desperate to reclaim her fame must survive the real-life plot of the horror movie that made her famous in the psychological, twisted, locked room thriller. It does sound really good, and I'm excited because you guys know I love horror movies. I only have one more book of the month pick, and that is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. This obviously is V.E. Schwab's newest book. It's sapphic vampire toxicity from what I've heard, and I'm really excited for it. And then the rest of the books I got from Aardvark, I've gotten Salt Bones by Jennifer Given. I don't know what this one is about, but when I saw like what they said about it on the website, website, I was like, that actually sounds really interesting. I do know it's a horror book. It says that 3 women in one twisted family race for answers in this gripping retelling of Persephone and Demeter. I think that's what really pulled me in, is that it's a horror story that's a retelling of Persephone and Demeter, and it takes place on the Mexicali borderlands, so it sounds really good. I've also gotten 2 of my most anticipated releases, which I have not read yet. First, I got Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I love Ashley Poston. I know a lot of people didn't like her most recent release. Did it come out last year? I think A Novel Love Story. I liked it, but I do love The 7 Year Slip. Like, that's my favorite one. I also like The Dead Romantics, but this is her newest one. I don't know if I'm gonna love it. It is about music, so we'll see. I'm excited nonetheless. And then this is the book I'm actually currently reading, and that is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. This is the same author that wrote The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which I absolutely love and adore. And this one kind of has the same kind of cozy fantasy witchy vibes of this witch running an inn, and there's literally like a talking fox. It's very funny and interesting, and I'm really excited to continue on in it. And then my 2 most recent aardvark picks are Too Old for This by Samantha Downing. I really like The Lovely Wife by this author. I really did not like A Twisted Love Story, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna give her another chance because this one sounds very interesting. It's about a retired serial killer, and I was like, okay, that plot alone is gonna pull me in, but if I don't like it, I probably won't pick up anything else from this author. And then lastly, from aardvark, I have Wet Hunger by Catherine Dang. This one has been on my radar, and I actually have an arc of it, but I wanted to get the physical copy too. It sounds so interesting. I just know this one is very heavily focused on female rage, and it is kind of like a literary horror from what I've gathered, and I'm just so excited to read this one. And this cover, man, this cover's stunning. Next up is the books that I got on my trip to Atlanta. There's actually a reading vlog from Summerween in July where I went on a trip to Atlanta and I went to see Beyonce. I also went to the Georgia Aquarium, which was amazing, but that is the nearest half price books to me. I literally live near Raleigh, North Carolina, and the nearest one is in Atlanta. Half price books, if you're listening, please open up a half price books in North Carolina. We would eat it up, I promise you. And so I was like, we have to go to half price books. I've only ever been to ones in Texas when I've gone to see Haley. We didn't go to half price books this past time, but that's the only time that I've ever been. So I was like, I have to go, and my mom has to like experience it too. And they had a lot of really good books. First up, I got Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. I've enjoyed a lot of books from this author. I didn't really enjoy her most recent release, Beautiful Ugly, but I really like Daisy Darker. I really like Rock Paper Scissors, and I do own, I think, one other book by her that I haven't read yet, His and Hers, but this one is one of her older releases, and I saw it and I was like, I really want to try out more of her work to see if I like it, and that the 2 books I liked from her were The Fluke, or the 1 book I didn't like from her was The Fluke. I've also read this one, and that is Guillotine by Delilah S. Dawson. I decided to pick this one up, and I've since read it. This is about a woman who goes basically on this rich family's island. She's dating this man, it's his family, and she ends up going, and things are not what they seem on this island, and the rich people treat their employees very poorly, and the employees begin to strike back. This is very, very similar to Eat the Rich, so I didn't rate this one too highly. It was a 3.5 for me. I really liked it. I definitely would recommend it. It's just that I read Eat the Rich earlier this year, and it felt like I was reading the same story, just one was a graphic novel and one was an actual novella. So I really liked it. I would recommend it, and I'm gonna keep it on my shelves for sure. Then I got Anatomy, a love story. This was a YA love story, and I've just always been drawn to this book, but I never picked it up. And I know Gavin from Gavin Reads It All recently read this, and when he talked about it, I was like, I should actually get that. And then I saw it at the store, so I was like, yeah, let me go ahead and pick it up. Then I also got Delilah Green Doesn't Care. I really want to read more like sapphic romances, because I feel like most queer romances in my experience are like gay with between 2 men, and most of the sapphic books I read tend to be horror books. So I was like, let me pick up a sapphic romance, and I've heard so many people love this one. I think this is also about a wedding, and maybe this is The Wedding Photographer. I also got Heartstopper. I already read this before I bought it, and I've never owned any of the Heartstopper graphic novels before, and I don't know if I'm going to collect the rest of the series, but I just wanted at least one on my shelves to kind of memorialize the series for me. This is about 2 boys that fall in love in like secondary school in England. I think that's what it's called, basically high school, okay? But it's really, really good. Obviously, y'all probably know it. And then I also picked up The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchinson, another one I already read prior to picking it up, but this is one of my favorite thriller books, and so I knew when I saw it, I was like, I have to get it because I don't have a physical copy. This is basically about these women that are captured by this man, and he treats them as his butterflies. He puts them in this kind of like conservatory, I don't know if that's what you would call it, and he like will tattoo butterfly wings on them, and obviously some of them probably don't make it, but then a lot of them are rescued by the FBI, and one of them is retelling her story. I also picked up something, I'm like, I need to read this before the end of the summer, I forgot. It's Every Time I Go on Vacation Someone Dies by Catherine Mack. If you guys know me, you know I love a cozy mystery, and I know Kayla from Books and Lala really love this one, and I think it takes place on vacation, obviously, and that makes me so excited. I need to try and read this before the end of the month. And then I also picked up The Quiet Tenant by Clemence McKellen. This is one that I've always been wanting to read really, really bad, and so when I saw it, I was like, I need to pick it up. I know this is about a man, and he has like a family, like I think he has a wife and a daughter, but then he also has this woman who he kidnapped that like lives in their basement or their barn or something like that, and he just like keeps her hostage. And I know a lot of people compare this one to Notes on an Execution, but I didn't love that one, and I think that this one's gonna be better for me just with the way that it's laid out, because that one was more literary fiction, and I think this one's gonna be a little bit more like thriller. I really wanted to get this book by this author because I read one of her other books and I wanted to pick it up, and that is The Other Mistress by Shanora Williams. I read The Perfect Ruin by her, and I honestly did not really read the synopsis of this one. I just know a lot of people love her other work, and I wanted to pick something up by her because I really like The Perfect Ruin, and she is a Black author, and I'm always trying to support Black authors in all genres, but specifically in like thrillers and horror and mystery, because those are the genres I primarily read. And I feel like we don't have enough thrillers written by Black authors, and a lot of horror written by Black authors has to do with like racial trauma, which is just like not my favorite to read as a Black person. So when I can pick up like a silly little thriller written by a Black author with Black characters, I'm always gonna do it. How did my battery go from 70% to 2% in 22 minutes of recording? Sorry if the angle's a little bit different at all. As I said, my battery was dying. I also picked up Heartless Hunter at Half Price Books, and this is a romantic that I've just heard so much about. I think it came out last year or in 2023. Let's see. Yeah, it came out last year, and since then, everybody has been really liking this one, so I was like, okay, let me pick it up, because romantic is not a genre that I'm like, oh, if there's a new release, I'm picking it up. Like with horror, I feel like I'm very in tune. With thrillers, I'm very in tune. Romantic not as much, and so like I kind of wait to see what people's reviews are before I pick it up. But I think I'm gonna like this one. I think it's also YA, but it sounded really good and people talked about it. And the last book I got from Half Price Books is A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall. This is actually a male author. He writes a lot of queer romances, but this is another book from him that's actually historical romance, and I do like historical romance. I haven't read that much of it, but I want to kind of get more into it, and I've been wanting to pick this one up for a while, so when I saw it there, I was like, of course, I have to get it. Next up, let's do my used bookstore that's local to me. I have one that I really love that was by my school, and I kind of miss being so close to it, but my boyfriend found me one in the city that we live, and as I said, I got rid of like 300 books, so I think they took like 200 or 250 books from me, and so I had a ton of credit, like $200 of credit that I got, and so I've been like popping in there every so often to see what they have, and I'm so happy that I have a used bookstore in my town that has such amazing books that I actually want to pick up and read, because some used bookstores don't always have that for me, and so I'm just really happy because my town, it has stuff, and it's not like super small, and we're right next to the Capitol, so everything is super close, but I'm used to living in the Capitol, so it's just like kind of been a little, not hard on me, but I just miss being so close to everything. I actually picked up another Shanora Williams book, The Wife Before. Again, I'm trying to collect some of her books, and this one says, insidious, sexy, twist-filled novel in which a new bride's fairy tale marriage fast becomes a nightmare of secrets. Sounds really good. I also picked up Root Magic. This is actually a middle grade that takes place in the 60s, and we're following two Black children who are dealing with like African American folk magic, and that just sounds really good to me. I really enjoy middle grade. I just don't own much of it, so I don't really pick it up as much as I would like, so I was like, let me go ahead and get this one. And then I also got How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive by Craig DeLuey. See, like literally this is a release from last year that is at my used bookstore for $5. I think that's so amazing, and I was kind of hesitant to buy this one when it first came out, especially like buying it new, because I really enjoyed Stuff for the Children by this author, but his release, I think the year before this one, is episode 13, and I didn't like that one. But I do really want to read more of like the fiction that came out, I feel like starting last year especially, where it's like horror movie based, because I love horror movies so much. So I decided to pick it up, especially because I did love a book from him so much that I was like, okay, let me go ahead and get this one. I also picked up A Dark and Drowning Tide. I think this was actually YA, but I think it's like a dark academia kind of fantasy romance, and it's queer, I believe, like sapphic. It says that a sharp-tongued folklorist must pair up with her academic rival to solve their mentor's murder in this lush and enthralling sapphic fantasy romance. See, I was right. And I do love a fantasy romance or a fantasy that has a mystery in it. That's like my favorite. So I'm really excited. Hopefully I can read this one this fall. I also picked up The Wicker King by Kay Ingram because I know that Books and Lala loves this author. I believe they're also a Black author, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Kay Ingram is Black. And this one, all I know is like, I think it's YA contemporary, but I think we're dealing with someone's like mental state deteriorating. And so when you start off in the book, it's like starting off like completely clean pages. And then as you go through the book, the edges start to get darker and darker and darker until it's literally fully black pages. And that just sounded so interesting to me. So I wanted to pick it up. It's been actually a book that I've had on my wish list for years and just never bought it. I also picked up My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. Again, I've already read this one before buying it, but this is a book that I really liked. This is the only Samantha Downing that I've read and enjoyed. I only read 2, so it's not anything crazy, but I really liked this one when I first read it. It was one of the first thrillers I read, so I decided to pick up a physical copy. I also got These Silent Woods by Kimmy Cunningham Grant, and a lot of people talked about this one the year that it came out, but it just never really intrigued me necessarily. But then I found out this new like bookstagrammer. I don't know if she also makes book talks. Like I mostly just watch her reels, so that's why I'm assuming she also posts them on Book Talk. But she mentioned this in one of her videos, and so I saw it and I was like, let me get it. I think it's about a dad and daughter who live in like the Appalachian Mountains. Sounds good. And then I also got Wolf Gone Wild. Again, another one I read before I bought it. This is a romance between a werewolf and a witch. And I really liked this one when I read it. So I wanted to get a physical copy, especially because fall's coming up. I'm definitely going to be recommending this one. I also picked up Vladimir by Julia May Jonas. And this is a literary fiction, I believe. And it says the incandescent debut about marriage and motherhood, art and love, and the temptation to see just how close you can get to the fire without getting burned. And I love anything to do with motherhood and all of that kind of discussion, and this was one that I know a lot of people talked about. Again, it wasn't one that I was like interested enough to buy full price, but since I saw it at the bookstore for $5, I was like, I'm gonna pick it up. Sorry if you guys hear any yapping. People are literally talking so loud in the hallway outside my apartment. But I also got Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. I've been wanting to try out his work. I actually bought another one of his books, I think back in like March, because it was during my spring break. We went to a used bookstore down by the beach, my boyfriend and I, and that one was, what is it? Harlem Shuffle. And so I saw another one and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick it up. Don't know what it's about, but everybody loves this author. He's so critically acclaimed. So I was like, of course I have to get it. It does follow a young slave on a cotton plantation. So again, not one of my favorite things to read. I don't know when I'm gonna get to this because reading that kind of material is very difficult for me, but I will definitely be reading it because it's so important, especially now, more than ever, okay? You guys need to be reading important books now. I also got Camp Zero by Michelle Min Sterling. This is one that I haven't heard the best things about, but when it first came out, the plot interested me. It says, in a near future northern settlement, the fates of a young woman, a professor, and a mysterious collective of climate researchers collide in this mesmerizing and transportive debut novel. It just sounded really good to me when it came out, but a lot of people hated it, so I was like, I don't know. But again, I saw it for $5, so even if I don't like it, I'm like, $5 I can waste. Even like getting it as an add-on from Book of the Month is $10. So I was like, $5, that's a good deal. I also picked up Dial A for Aunties because I swear I owned the first book, but I only had the second book, not the first one. I was like, let me just go ahead and rebuy it because I love this book. I love this author. So I picked it up. This one is about a woman who accidentally kills this man, and her 4 aunties and her mom are trying to cover it up, but they're also trying to put on a wedding, and things get messy very quickly. These books are also actually sells new books, so I shouldn't just call them used bookstore. It's just a bookstore. So they sell used books, they sell new books, they sell DVDs, records, all different types of stuff. Puzzles, literally I bought in puzzles, records, DVDs, all from them. So I did buy a new book there because I was like, it's so expensive. I'm reading it for my book club, so I want to get a physical copy, but I don't think I'm gonna like it, so I might as well use my credit instead of my real money. And that is With a Vengeance by Riley Sager, which again, I've already read, and I kind of want to unhaul it, but I own every single other book from Riley Sager, and I read it for my book club, and I usually like to keep onto my physical copies for my book club, even if I don't like it. So yeah, but this is an Agatha Christie style mystery on a train. Not very good, don't really recommend. I think it's Riley Sager's weakest work, but you can pick it up if you like. I also saw Will there, and I've been trying to read more nonfiction. I actually kind of forgot about that and have not been reading nonfiction much, but this is his memoir, and of course I love Will Smith, so I was like, let me go ahead and get that. And this book, I actually just finished it a day or two ago, and that is Next of Kin by Kia Abdullah. I love this book. This is so good. Please pick this up. I have not had a really good thriller in a long time. I did read This Book Will Bury Me, which I loved, but it was like a 4.5 for me. This one is a 5-star. I loved it. And I read Take It Back by this author before, and I really liked that one too, but this one is so good. It's basically about a high profile woman, and she has her sister that lives nearby who has a 3-year-old son, and one day they ask her like, hey, can you take him to daycare on your way to work? She gets a call that's very urgent, like she needs to get to work, and he is like been asleep in the car the whole time. Like when they put him into the car, he was asleep and he's been asleep, so she forgot that he was in the car, and she goes to work without dropping him off because she forgot, and he ends up passing away because it's super hot apparently that day. Like it's the hottest day of the year. It is very crazy. It's very insane. It's a legal thriller. Like there's 3 acts, and act 2 is really about the like trial, and act 1 is like all the events I just told you and then leading up to the trial. It's so good. Please pick it up. And then I picked up some manga. I actually got this one, Cthulhu Cat, I think is how you say it. I've actually already read this one too, and it was pretty good. I liked it. I liked the art style a lot. I just saw it had to do with cats, and I've been obsessed with cats in the past like 2 years. So I was like, let me pick up this manga because it's about cats. And then I actually got one for my boyfriend, and that is Cannibal, but I'll probably read it too eventually, because anytime I'm like doing a 24-hour readathon or trying to like fulfill prompts, I always look to like manga and stuff like that. I just know this one's about a cop, and I guess there's like some bite marks and stuff that are showing up on people that look like they could be from a human, and they are from cannibals. And then I also got this one. It's called Crazy Food Truck, and this one is about a gruff middle-aged cook running a food truck in a sand-covered wasteland when he encounters a naked girl sleeping in the middle of nowhere, and he takes on her and her unexpected appetites, and they go on a crazy food truck road trip, and it's post-apocalyptic. So I was like, that just sounds so crazy and interesting, so let me go ahead and get it. Now there's a dog barking like crazy. Sorry if y'all hear that. I've been waiting for 5 minutes and it's been barking for the past 5 minutes. But I do have some more used books. I never really bought from thrift books before, but there were some specific authors that I was looking to get into, specifically because of my friend Beth from Beth's All Booked. I think her channel is Beth Morvit now. Sorry about that, Beth. She reads like a lot of like crime and detective thrillers, which are a type of thriller that I really like, but not a lot of people I feel like read, or at least like on the book internet, like BookTube, Book Talk, Bookstagram. Not a lot of people read those. I don't even know where to start, but I've seen her recommend these authors before, and so I wanted to pick up their books, and I saw a ton of them at my used bookstore, but they didn't have like where you should start with those authors at the used bookstore. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go get them on thrift books because I really want to try out these authors. They didn't come in the best condition. I also picked up some Karen Slaughter and one other book, but first up I have Jeffrey Deaver. So I got The Bone Collector and The Bodies Left Behind. I just looked up like where you should start with these authors. So I picked up normally like the first in like one of their most popular series, and then I also picked up some of their standalones. And so these 2 books were ones that came highly recommended. I also wanted to try out Patricia Cornwell. This one literally does not have a dust jacket. I'm like, what the hell? But it is post-mortem. I'm like, I don't think it came with the dust jacket, but I just didn't expect it to look like this. But I've heard really good things about Patricia Cornwell. And then also Tess Gerritsen. So I picked up The Surgeon by her, but like literally, is that supposed to be on the cover, or is that marker? Because that looks like marker to me. But I got them for so cheap, guys. Literally like $3, $4, $5. I'm like, whatever. Like, it doesn't bother me that much. And then I also got Harvest by her. And then, as I said, I picked up some Karen Slaughter, mostly just like the Grant County series. The first 2 books, Blindsided and Kiss Cut, I already owned and read. So I picked up A Faint Cold Fear, Indelible, and Faithless. And I swear there's 6 books in this series, but I might be tripping because I thought I got all of them, but then I was like, wait, I only have 5 books. Faithless is the 5th book, but I think there's one more book after this, so I might have to grab that because I really want to complete this series. After I bought all these books, I bought them in like one order. I got like a $5 credit from thrift books, where basically you could get any book from their site for free, just up to $5. So I was like hunting. I was going through so many books and nothing stood out to me, but then I saw Slice of Cherry. And I think the first person I heard talk about this was Jordaline from Jordaline Reads. But this one I think is about a serial killer or like something with like female rage or something like that. And the author, I'm 95% sure, is a Black author, which is what made me so interested in this work when I first heard about it a couple years ago. So I was like, let me go ahead and get it. She's a little chunky, but I'm excited to pick her up. And then these next books I actually got for free from Little Free Libraries because, as I said, I unhauled 300 books. The used bookstore took like 200, 250, but I still had a decent amount of books left. So I went to Little Free Libraries with my mom, dropped books off, and picked up some books. So I got Binti by Nnedi Okorafor. This is actually one that I've already read. I listened to it as an audiobook, and it was one of those things where I was like, I don't even really know the story like sometimes there are just things that when you listen to them on audio, no matter how slow you listen to them, I feel like they just don't absorb that well. And for me, that was this book. And so I wanted to reread it physically or as an ebook, but I didn't own it. And so I was so happy that I saw this because I was like, I can go ahead and pick it up. And then I got 2 nonfiction books. I got We Should All Be Feminists and I Am Malala. I think my mom, she actually was trying to give these little free libraries. Like she had books from her own collection that she wanted to get rid of, but I saw both of these and I was like, wait, I should get those, especially because I'm trying to read more nonfiction. This one's so short, and of course, We Should All Be Feminists. And then I feel like Malala, like, of course, I'm gonna read her memoir. And then the last book I got was The Silence of the Lambs. I know this is not the first book in the series, so I really want to read the first book first because this is like the Hannibal Lecter series, I believe. And so this is the second book, which is what everybody knows. But I saw this and I was like, wait, but I should start that series. So I got the second book because it was free, you know. But I literally gave like 100 books to these little free libraries all in my area, actually like where my parents live in the capital. So it was just super nice to be able to do that, and I hope that everybody enjoyed it. And the last stack of books that I have are from Barnes & Nobles. There's from like a couple trips, I think like 3 trips worth of books here. The first trip that I went on to Barnes, I got 3 books. I got The Perfect Divorce by Geneva Rose. Actually, I don't remember if this one's from Barnes. I know I bought it new, so it's either from like Barnes. Oh, actually, I think it's from Walmart, guys. I was like, where did I get this from? And I was like, I'll just put it in the Barnes stack because I don't remember. I actually got this one from Walmart. My boyfriend and I went to get some records, and I saw this because the records and the books are right by each other, and I was like, wait, I need to read that because I love The Perfect Marriage so much. I know people hate on that thriller. I love it. And so I ended up getting this one. It's just a sequel to that book. And you do need to read the first book to read this one, okay? But it's a thriller about this lawyer who ends up defending her husband because she doesn't think that he is guilty of his crime, which is basically killing his mistress. And when she died, that's how she found out that he had a mistress. It's kind of crazy. This is the sequel. I liked it. Not as much as the first one, but I did enjoy it. And then actually now getting from Barnes & Noble, I got The Good, the Bad, and the Aunties. This is my least favorite book in the series. I gave it 3 stars. The other 2 I gave like 4.5, 5 stars. It is my least favorite, but I still liked it. It just didn't have like the wedding vibes. Like what I know from the series, this book wasn't like typical of it, but I did still like it because of course it's like these meddling aunties and it's really good. And they are still dealing with like a crime, but it's not a murder either, which is like not typical for the other 2 books in the series, but it was still an enjoyable read. And then I also got Hunted by Darcy Coast, which I've also already read. I read The Perfect Divorce, The Good, the Bad, and the Aunties, and Hunted. Hunted I'm actually going to unhaul, so I pulled it out of my unhaul pile for y'all, but this one I actually read for a book club that I was invited to, and I just bought it because I was like, I'm reading it for a book club, whatever. But I did not like this one because it was fine. Like I guess I would recommend it. I think I gave it 2.5 stars, but for me this is just not the type of thriller I like. But I really did like the end. I just felt like it dragged for so long, and I feel like if you're gonna do a thriller that's supposed to be like people surviving in the woods, like I want more, you know, and it didn't deliver that. But basically this girl goes missing in the middle of the woods, and her brother and his friends go to look and try and find her, but they're not the only people in the woods, you know? And it is crazy at the end. So if you're interested in that plot, maybe you would like this. But I just like thrillers that have like a lot to them, and this one didn't really have that for me. I recently went to Barnes like 2 times within a week, and one time it was my boyfriend. He was like, I just got paid, I want to buy you books. And so I was like, let's say less. But that was actually the second time. The first time I just wanted to go, and so I went and I bought a ton of books, okay? Not a ton. I bought 5. So I got Beautiful Venom by Rena Kent. This is a dark romance that is hockey. And I was like, okay, I love a sports romance. I love dark romance. At least I used to. I liked both those things. I feel like my romance taste is changing a little bit, but I was like, this is going to be the test because I used to love Rena Kent. I only read like 3 of her books, I think, but I really liked all of them and they were very addicting. So I was like, if I don't like this one, then I need to back off. But I actually do like the sprayed edges of this one. A lot of these have sprayed edges because they're spray edging every single book now. I also got Someone You Could Build a Nest In, again, sprayed edges. This one I know is like a fantasy horror, and I think it has romance in it, and the way that people have been describing this book has sounded so good, and so many people have been talking about it. I was like, I gotta pick it up. I also got Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson because it's actually my book club pick for August, my Patreon book club, and I love Holly Jackson. I've enjoyed all of her work except for 5 Star. I wasn't my favorite. I still liked it, but it just wasn't my favorite, but all of her other work I've loved, and so I wanted to pick this one up, and it's her adult debut. It's about a woman who I think is like in a coma and gonna die, and she like needs to like save herself from whatever it is that she's in. I don't really remember, but I was like, oh yeah, she got a head injury, and doctors are certain that within a week the injury will trigger a deadly aneurysm. So she's not comatose, but she has 7 days to like save herself before she has this aneurysm. I also got Never Whistle at Night. I've been really wanting to read this one. It's an indigenous like horror anthology. So all of the stories are written by indigenous authors and it just sounds so good, and I've been wanting to pick it up. And then lastly on that trip, I got Terror at the Gates by Scarlett Sinclair. Now this is a fantasy romance, so I don't know how much I'm gonna like it because a lot of like really popular ones I haven't enjoyed, but I'm excited to try it out anyways. And it seems kind of like, not exactly, but a little bit reminiscent of Crescent City, which is like one of my favorite fantasies of all time. I love Crescent City. Not saying the other books. I haven't even read the last one yet because I'm nervous, but the first book is like one of my favorites of all time. So I wanted to pick this one up. So now we're on the last 3 books, and my boyfriend bought these for me. Thank you. Love you. If you're watching this, he does watch my videos, so I hope he saw that. But I have Jawbone by Monica Ojeda, and this is one that I've been really wanting to pick up, and I heard this one described as like pink horror, which I like, which is just like horror written by women about women. It says that it's about 2 girls that are so close they're practically sisters, a double image inseparable. So how does Fernanda end up bound on the floor at a deserted cabin held hostage by one of the teachers and estranged from the other one, Annalise? This sounds really good, and it came out a while ago, but I feel like a lot of people have been talking about it in the past few years, and the more that people talk about it, the more I want to read it. And I think I actually did, you know, like when it was really popular to do those videos where it was like a recommendation service recommends me books. I actually paid and was going to film a video for it, but I never ended up filming the vlog. Let me know if you guys would like to see that video, but like I would redo it again and get new recommendations. But this was actually one of the ones that was recommended to me, so I was like, maybe I should pick it up. I also got Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. I used to love Cassandra Clare. I used to be a stan. Like, that was one of my favorite series. I cried when I met her because, yes, I did meet her back in the day. And this is her adult debut, I believe. And I just heard that it's really good. It says 2 outcasts find themselves caught in a web of dangerous magic and dark secrets that could change the world forever. And this start of a riveting epic debut series from the author of course, the Shadowhunter Chronicles. And then the last book I got is Bad Cree by Jessica Johns. I believe this is also an indigenous horror book, and it's just about this woman who wakes up with a severed crow's hand in her hand, and she panics, and then she starts having like nightmares and dreams about different things, and it's like very creepy sounding, and I'm really excited to try this one out as well. And so those are all the books that I got. Let me know what you guys think of the books that I haven't read yet. What do you guys think I should pick up first? A lot of these I'm putting like on my fall TBR, especially like the ones that I most recently got from like Barnes & Noble. I think a lot of those are going to go on my fall TBR. But I'm so happy that I brought so many of these books into my collection. Like when I look at them, I'm like, I'm so excited to read these. But a lot of them I've already read. Some of them I read before I bought them. Some of them I've read since then, except for Hunted. I'm not excited about this one because I didn't like her. But besides that, I'm so happy with all these books, and I've been trying to be more intentional with what books I bring into my collection. I feel like I've actually been successful, even though it may not seem like it because I bought in 70 books or received 70 books in my collection. But I have been a little bit more intentional with what books I'm choosing. And if I haven't read them, let me know down below what books I should be getting to. If any of these are like one of your favorite books, please let me know so I can bump it up my TBR. And while you're down there, you can leave me the cloud emoji to let me know that you made it to the end, and I will see you on the next one. Bye everybody.